Hello, my name is Keshwani. That's Keshwani, Keshwani. We are here because we want to prepare for the GMAT. We have been solving GMAT math problems out of this book here, GMAT Review, the official guide, the 13th edition. If you do not own this book already, purchase one immediately. You're going to need it. The problem that we are about to solve is the one that you will find on page number 171. Page 171, and today is our lesson number 147. Problem number 133 is what we're going to do, the very first problem on the page. Number 133. This says there are 8 teams in a certain league. We are told that each team plays each of the other teams exactly once. Each team plays each of the other teams exactly once. If each game is played by two teams, the game is of such nature that there are only 2 teams playing in a game. What is the total number of games played? So we have 8 teams. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Here are our 8 teams. Let's give them name here. They don't tell them anything, so we're just going to call them team number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. There are 8 teams that are going to play the games. Each game is going to be played by 2 teams. The question simply is how many games are going to be played. Now, before you continue watching this particular example, I would like you to compare this problem with number 124 that we did on day number 137. In problem number 124 on day 137 that we did, instead of 2 teams playing against each other, it shows a scenario of a map, but the distances between the cities. And we were asked how many cells would be filled up if we were to show in a chart a distance between 30 cities. If you recall that problem, and if you have not watched that video, I want you to pause this video right away. I want you to pause this video and watch this video first. Number 124, problem number 124 on day number 137. So here we have 8 teams. Here we have 8 teams. What very first thing we have to realize is that since there are 8 teams, 8 times 8, we have 64 cells that we have to take care of. Of those 64 cells, this diagonal that you see here, team number 1 is not going to play against itself, team number 2 is not going to play against itself. There are 8 cells in the diagonals that are going to remain empty because the team does not play against itself, does it? Team 5 is not going to play against team 5. So there is no match there, which means even though there are 64 cells, 8 times 8, out of which we have to subtract 8 because there is no entry on those 8. Now, having understood that part, the second part that we need to understand is, I cannot talk without my pointer. Second part we need to understand is that when team number 2 plays against team number 1, this entry that you see here, this entry that we see here, is the exact same entry as this one. There is no difference. It's a mirror image. These two are mirror image. Similarly, this entry that we see here is the exact same entry when team number 3 plays against team number 1. That is same as team number 3 playing against team number 1 right here. These 2 entries are the same, and so on and so forth. So the bottom half is a mirror image of the top half, or vice versa. So the total number of cells that we have to figure out, total number of games that are going to be played, is 8 times 8, which is 64 minus the 8 in the diagonal, and then this total that we have here, we have to take half of it. We have to take half of it because bottom half is the same as the top half. So there are half as many games or half as many cells where you will find the entry, and that's our answer. 8 times 8 is 64. 64 minus 8 is 64 minus 10 is 54, so it's going to be 56. 56 divided by 2. 50 divided by 2 is 25, and 6 divided by 2 is 3, so 25 plus 3 is 28. That's it, the answer is 28. There are going to be 28 matches that are going to be played between these 8 teams. Only 28 matches, even though there are 8 teams and it sounds like a large number, 8 times 8 is 64, but in reality there are going to be only 28 matches. Let's do the next one, shall we? Number 134. Let's see if we're done with this one. In number 134, they tell us that the relationship that exists between A and B is of this nature. A theta B. Now if you don't know how to read this thing, don't worry about it. This is the Greek letter, it is read as theta, but if you do not know, don't worry about it. As I said, it has no significance, it's just a symbol. A theta B, we are told, equals A minus B divided by A plus B. Now before we do anything, this is a set of instruction. Before we do anything, let's first understand how to read these set of instructions. What it says is that whatever we see in the left of the symbol, we have to take that and subtract from it whatever we see on the right of it. So on the top, we take the difference between the left and the right, and on the after we have taken the difference, we will divide that by the sum of the left and the right. That's all it is, whatever we see. The question simply is, what's got to be the value of C if an operation is defined by such and such and such that A theta C. We are told that A theta C, we are told equals 0. Equals 0. Well, if it equals 0, A theta C is same as A minus C. You see the difference between the left and the right over A plus B. Sorry, A plus C. A plus C. And that has to equal 0. If that has to equal 0, if we were to multiply both sides, let's multiply both sides by A plus C. So here we have A minus C over A plus C, we are told, equals 0. When I write a 0, I always have a habit of putting a line through it, but I'm not going to do it here because otherwise that cipher will be confused with the theta. So let's multiply both sides by A plus B. Multiply this side by A plus B, multiply this side by A plus B. And if you multiply that, the reason we want to multiply both sides by A plus B so that we can cancel out this A plus B by this A plus B. So A minus C equals 0 times A plus B. So 0 times anything is just 0. 0 times anything is just 0. So if A minus C is equal to 0, that implies that A must equal C, or C equals A. The answer is, question was, what is C equal to? The answer is C equals A, or A equals C. Question is, how much does C equal? The answer is C equals A. The answer is E. The answer is letter E. And that was problem number 134. Let's do one more, shall we? Let's do the next one, 135. In problem number 135, we are told that the price of lunch for 15 people is $207. Price of lunch for 15 people, we are told, is $207, which we are told includes 15% gratuity. It includes a 15% gratuity. It includes a 15% tip. The price, the $207, that is, which means $207 is actual price of the meal for 15 people. On top of it, on the 15%. The question simply is, what is the average price? What is the average price per person without the tip? Well, since we are told that the price of the lunch is $207, that tells us that $207 represents the price of the meal plus the 15% tip. So $207 represents 115% of the total price, because it is, as I said, the price of the meal, which is 100%, plus another 15%. Now how do we write this thing? How do we write this English language sentence into a mathematical equation? It's very simple. 207 represents means equals 115 percent means over 100. That's what percent means, per 100. Of means times. Of means times. And the total, let's call it T. Now all we have to do is solve for T. Now once we have the total amount, we'll just simply divide it by a number of people. There are 15 people. And we'll have our price per person without the tip. Let's do it. So multiply both sides by 100, we get 207 times 100. Divide both sides by 115. And there is our T. Now all we have to do is simplify, which is not a big deal. Let's divide top and bottom by 5. I see 100 here, 100 goes into 5, 115 goes into 5. Let's divide top and bottom by 5. How many 5s in 11? 11 has 2 5s. The remaining one goes and joins the 5. I shouldn't have done all this thing because now this could be confusing. Let's rewrite it. It's 100 and 115. Let's divide top and bottom by 5. How many 5s in a 10? 10 has 2 5s, and then how many 5s in a 0? 0 has no 5s. Which of course is very simple because we know that 5 20s are 100. How many 5s in 11? 11 has 2 5s. The remaining one goes and joins the 5, becomes 15. How many 5s in a 15? 15 has 3 5s. So it's 23, which makes sense because 100 has 25s and another 15 will be another 3 5s. So now we have 23 and we have 207. Now when you get into weird numbers like this, you have to stop and pause. You have to stop and pause and take a breath. Don't just keep on going gung-ho like a wild person. Take a breath, take a deep breath and ask yourself, what can you do with it? Because the purpose of the exam, as I always remind you, the purpose of the exam is not to see how big of a geek you are, how big of a freak you are. That is not the purpose of the exam. They're just trying to see how well you think. Look at this here, 207 and 230. What do you notice? 230, so rather 23 times 10, 23 times 10, you should notice is 230. 230 is how much less than 207? These are some things that you have to train yourself to see right away like that. 230, see this, I see 23, immediately you realize that 10 times 23 is 230. 230 is how much less than 27? How much less than 207? The difference is exactly 23. Exactly 23, which means 207 has 9 23s. And if you did not see that, you're going to make your life miserable trying to divide. What most people will end up doing is they will take this 207 multiplied by 20 and try to divide by 23. It will take forever and ever. That's it, we're done. It's 9 times 20, which is 180. Total amount is $180. There are altogether 15 people. So the average price per person that they're talking about, the average price per person that they're asking for, without the tip, is simply the total that we just found, 180 divided by 15. How many 15s in 18? How many 15s in 18? 18 has 115. The remaining 3 goes and joins the 0, becomes 30. The remaining 3 from the 18 goes and joins the 0, becomes 30. How many 15s in a 30? The 30 has 2 15s. Voila, there you go. The price per person was $12 without the tip. That's all it is. That's all it is. That's it, we are done. That was the answer, $12 per person. And if you want to verify this thing, it does not actually take that long to actually verify it. Let's do it out very quickly. It is only going to take a few seconds that are well worth spending to pay the premium and a few extra seconds to buy the insurance, to buy the peace of mind that we have in fact found the right answer. Let's find out. So we're claiming the price per person is $12. There were 15 people altogether, which is 12 times 10 is 150. 150 plus 30 is 180. Of course, that's how we got it, 180. And now we have to add 15% to it. How do you add 15% to 180? Well, that's the other tricky part. These are small things that you have to train yourself. If somebody were to ask you, add 15% to this amount, don't waste your time trying to figure out the freaking 15% of 180. Ask yourself, what is 10%? 10% is 18. 10% of 180 is 18. Therefore, 5% must be 9. There you go. That represents, this is 10%, this is 5%. 18 is 10%, 9 is 5%. Therefore, the total amount is going to be 115%. And when we add them all up, we better get 207. Let's see what we get. 8 plus 8 is 16, 16 plus 1 is 17, 17 is 7, carry 1. There you go, 8 and 10, 0, and voila. 115% does actually come out to be exactly $207, which is the price, which is the total amount that they paid for the 15 lunches, including the 15% gratuity. That's it. I'll see you tomorrow, okay? Bye now.